And I keep telling myself there are surgeries that can reattach my penis.
Yeah, well,
if it ever comes down to it.
yeah.
I don't know if they can reattach them that small.
Why did someone bring us a thumb?
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Rambling Knave. I'm Brandon.
I'm not a number. I'm a free man.
Shut up, number 6.
Really hoping you were going to go for that. Nice. And I'm Noah.
And this week, we're talking about Iron fucking Maiden.
That's right, some of the Knaves are going down to Indianapolis in a couple of weeks, about the time this video comes out, to see
The Beast.
the Beast themselves in concert. So we decided...
With their own peepers.
Yeah.
With our own eyeballs.
For the 4th time for me.
4th time, actually, on the tattoo. That's the date is the first time. First concert was Iron Maiden, Dio, and Motorhead.
Wow, what a great concert.
Thank you, Father. I will never forget that.
So we thought it was appropriate to talk about one of our favorite bands in the entire fucking world.
Universe.
Iron fucking Maiden.
Yeah, we've split this into a 2-parter, so this week and next week. This
a
week,
lot of it.
Yeah, this week is our early Maiden top 7 underrated songs, as we always do. We always do the underrated because, well, we're always the underdog, so why not fucking go for the underdog songs?
And be real, you don't want to hear us talk about Number of the Beast.
No, you
Like,
don't. You've
you
heard
don't.
enough.
Yeah.
You've heard it enough, and so all of these songs could not have been a single minus like one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
We'll
couldn't-
talk about.
Yeah, and they couldn't be on one of the greatest hits albums, of which there's like 5 or fucking 6 of them.
Yeah.
Granted, one of them is just B-sides, so that kind of doesn't
Yeah.
count, but still, whatever. So that's this week, and then next week will be, well,
Doing the later half.
later half.
And the albums for the early half are self-titled to Fear of the Dark.
Yep.
First 9.
The first 9, 2 with Theano, and then the very last one, Fear of the Dark, was Dickinson's last album,
For a time.
For a Time.
Yeah.
And then
We'll talk more about that
Yeah.
next
week, yeah.
So
out of the first 9 out of the first, well, not
16.
first, but out of the 16.
Yeah.
So if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now so that you're alerted for next week when we come back and talk about Iron Maiden some more.
Bang that subscribe button,
Fucking-
or shred that subscribe button.
That's
Whatever
right.
you gotta do. Yeah.
Yes.
So without wasting any more of your time, let's jump right into number 1.
Chronologically.
Chronologically, this is the first track. This is the first Iron Maiden track off of their first album. It is Prowler, and it is one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
All time.
Iron Maiden on the album Iron Maiden 1980.
Yeah, with the song Iron Maiden.
Yeah, but the song we picked is Prowler.
It is the lead-off track to the very first Iron Maiden album, and it is It starts
awesome.
with, there's a quick build-up riff, and then you get right into the quintessential Yeah, and it's Papa Roach stole it.
Yeah, well,
At
fuck
one of
them.
their songs.
But once those,
What?
once those those chords hit, you're like, fuck.
What did I just get into?
Yeah.
And then you see the album cover, which is this Eddie right here, looking all creepy,
The
like
weird
what the
zombie staring at you with those like beady dead eyes.
Well, they're glowing.
Yeah,
they're like these weird glowing
they're
eyes.
still dead. Like they're dead and glowing.
Yeah, but it's just, especially if you were listening to this for the first time in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine, like, 1980, you just, like, flipping through the fucking albums at your local, whatever, like Tower Records or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, you get through.
I need to hear this.
Yeah, Indigo Girls, In Excess, Iron Butterfly. Whoa, this is fucking creepy. I'm taking this home.
It's the album that you would take home and hide from your parents.
Yeah.
If you were us when we were first getting into metal, it's like, we can't tell mom that we're listening to X, Y, or Z.
And for good reason, too, because this song is about cranking it in the bushes.
Yeah, it's Mischa's life story, really.
Yeah, it's literally about a dude in a trench coat like, look at my dick, and then you just run away.
And it seems to me that there's like a running like through theme to the brothers here that Noah's cranking it at the bowling alley.
The
Golden
Hey,
Axe.
whoa. It was the roller skating rink.
Excuse me, roller rink cranking it to Iron.
The bowling alley was a whole different thing.
Yeah.
We have him outside someone's window. I don't know what his name was. Cranking it.
some old guy.
Yeah, and Noah just going to town on
we
Golden Axe.
don't even know what Doober's doing at this point, but we should probably not talk about that.
Yeah.
No, because then we'd get banned.
We have
from YouTube.
iron and gold, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so Doober's just cranking it to like a silver fox, just to complete the thing.
So yeah, I mean, with that being said, the lyrical content of their first two albums was rather dark, especially if you've been into Maiden, like later Maiden, where they talk about historical stuff and they reference poems and stuff like that. The lyrical content was really dark. There's this song about a guy in the bushes. There's songs about prostitutes. And the whole album had this atmosphere, this dark, punky kind of atmosphere to it that faded out.
Definitely more punky.
Yeah, it definitely had a
absolutely.
punk sound.
I mean, it had its, but it had its proggier moments. Like Remember Tomorrow, which was on the list but didn't make the final cut. Like Dennis Stratton, their original guitar player, he liked playing those slower, more complicated songs, and that's what ultimately led to his exit from the band, because he wanted to take the band in a proggier direction.
Right?
Which, ironically, the band ended up in like full-on prog on like one of their later albums, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of weird that they were like, at first they wanted that raw punk energy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It works out so well.
Yeah.
This it's like a quintessential. We'll probably be using that word like you can make a drinking game out of it. A quintessential Iron Maiden song.
Yeah.
Because it has the Iron Maiden riff. It has the driving bass line. It's got this great build up at 124 before the solo at 159, and then when the solo hits with the woo-doo-doo, and you're just, oh my god, it just crushes your face, and it's just everything you could want out of a Maiden song.
That's the climaxing in the bushes.
Yeah, that's when he finishes strokes, and then you just don't know what to do with your life after that, because the song just punches you in the mouth.
I know what to do. We're gonna move on to number 2,
Which is off the next album,
which is on Killers. And
1981.
And this song is buried deep on the B-side. You almost don't even know it's there. This one's Purgatory.
And this is the one, this is the one that was actually the only single we picked because it's Iron Maiden's worst single.
Selling.
Worst selling single because it didn't even make it onto the top 50 of the UK charts.
Yeah.
Which, once we get into the later Iron Maidens, their singles just blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
So this one not making a top 50, especially for the song itself.
Yeah, the song is just like it's almost a straight up punk rock song because it's like there is no slowing down. It is like it is pedal to the floor for like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And actually I want to go back to the single because the original artwork for the single was too good.
Yeah.
The A&R guy was like, "Whoa, this is LP material, guys." Yeah. And lo and behold, the original artwork would become one of the most iconic album covers ever because it was used for Number of the Beast. So, there's that interesting tidbit.
Yeah. Can you imagine if that was just like for their crappy...
the crappiest single is like one of their...
Yeah, and then it's just like, well, we're just going to have this like shitty stick figure. Just humping another stick figure for Number of the Beast. Yeah. Stick figure humping a 9.
Yeah. Well, it's literally the album cover is just a demon with Eddie on strings, which is their mascot, like a marionette. Yeah.
But so that was Number of the Beast. But back to the song, I think my favorite part of this song though is during the pre-chorus bit or the chorus bit where it's the bridge where it's you just get those heavy floor toms, the bass drops, and it's dee dee doo dee dee doo 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 doo. But it's just that tom beat, no cymbals, only the floor toms, and there's something about that because I'm
kind of obsessed with tom beats.
I'm kind of because that was my reason for picking Double Agent on during the Rush list was there's that heavy floor tom part. So it's I don't know. I think it's because you hear cymbals so often in the songs that when there's parts where there's extended periods where those drop, you really key in on it because you're so used to hearing it, and when it's not there, you're like, wait. I don't know. There's something about floor toms. Give me more than toms.
There's also there's the driving bass line that also has this brief. It's like for one note where it stops in all the verses where it's just this really quick staccato picking or finger picking, and then it stops so quick that you can't really hear it, but you know it happens. And it's almost like this rubber band effect that it just keeps driving itself.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going, and it pushes the song forward. And then even, with the chorus lyrics, "Please take me away," if you add all the other lyrics on top of that, it's almost like this was Di'Anno's essentially you could probably say it was his cry for help, because it's all about drugs and how they warp you and take you away from whatever situation you're in or get you out of whatever bad situation you're in. So the song has, like, again, it's one of those dark songs that has really dark lyrical content, but it's such a good song.
Isn't it Paul's last song too?
It is Paul's last album.
Last album.
Yeah.
But I thought it was his last song that he was like they recorded for the album.
I'm not too sure about that, but I know that this is Paul Di'Anno's last album with the band, and they start moving away from that darker, more punky sound as they start going through their albums.
Because next up here in Roundo Trace,
Roundo Trace,
copyrighted
Trademark.
by us,
Trace
features the introduction of the one you know, Bruce Air Raid Siren Dickinson.
Yeah.
Our pick for number 3 was The Prisoner, based on the TV show of the same
BBC.
name. The BBC show, TV show of the same name.
BB show, TV show.
I am so excited that we get
so
to talk
excited.
about The Prisoner. I can't talk correctly.
Yeah, it's a song and it's good in BB shows.
TV, man.
Yeah, I love
know,
TV.
Patrick McGowan.
Oh man, you know, I really tried to get these guys to let me just float around in a fucking white egg chair for the whole thing, but because no one gave us money, fuck you, Ken Ham, for not giving us money,
Yeah, we
so I could
would've-
float around in a cool
Yeah.
white
Listen,
egg chair.
If we had a special effects budget, that would have happened.
Oh, I could just
so
be like,
if you want to see shit
Number
like that
7!
happen, you can donate to our show.
Tell me your picks for Iron Maiden, number 7!
We'll figure out the donation stuff later, but right now we're gonna get into the song.
Yeah, so I will say that they have the intro with Pat McGowan, and that's fucking dope, because I think it's the only time they actually, like, really used, like an actual sample from a show or something else. And they called him on the phone, and were like, hey, can we use this? And he's like, wait, what's this for? A rock band? Long pause. Do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Like, that's fucking great.
Do it.
There's no way that would ever happen nowadays. They'd be like, wait, is this like Justin Timberlake? No, it's a metal band from England. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not being anywhere. Like, you know the one with like the weird zombie guy with the hair and like all the blood dripping on the bassist or on the guitar, on the drummer when he's covered in blood when they're playing live. No, I don't want to be anything.
Yeah.
No, he was just like, fuck it, do it. And I love that about this man.
Yeah. And I mean, I love the structure of the song. How, you know, it starts with the sample from the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you get that, and then it just you start with that real like mellow drum, not mellow, but like slow tempo drum beat.
But it's actually like, so it's a punchy drum beat.
Yeah,
That gets
you
you
know,
like,
it's-
all right.
okay.
And you can kind of start nodding your head to it,
And then all of a sudden
it builds up.
And you just kind of, you know, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Just so good. So
Also,
good.
and even if it, like, again, lyrical content is based off the show, but even if you take the show out of it, it's basically like, screw you, government.
That's right. I am a free man.
I am a free
I am
man.
not
You
a
can't.
number.
Yeah, I am not a number. You can't tell me what to do.
Not number 6.
Yeah, I'm a free man. So it's
Who's
again, it's
number
like,
1?
it's a middle finger to you know the system that like you can't tell me what to do.
That's
I
right.
will say, finding all of this show on VHS when I was like 8 and religiously watching it, that I think warped me for the rest of my life
Oh,
because
probably.
I watched that a lot and I did not get it at all for like a long time.
Yeah.
And I think I was like 13 or 14. I was like, oh, I've been watching a very different show than I thought I was. Well,
And this album also is like the album that put Iron Maiden on the map.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the entire B-side except for Gangland.
yeah, let's forget about that one.
Yeah,
Just
just take
moving on.
Gangland off. But the entire B-side is just hit after hit after hit, and it's just like, what the fuck? And all three of those, like 3 out of the 4 songs on the B-side are now like concert staples.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like our other list contributor, Bubbles, didn't pick anything from this album because his argument was that because it has the title track "Run to the Hills" and "Hallowed Be Thy Name," that you can't say anything on this album is underrated because it is the Iron Maiden album.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
fair.
It's a very fair point.
It's the
but,
first
the
album to chart number 1. Right?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
but you know what? Fuck you, Bubs, because The
Prisoner.
Prisoner is fucking dope.
That's
and
right.
before we move on to number 4, I will point out that the 3 of us are drinking Iron Maiden beer.
Yeah, we're drinking the Trooper because we couldn't find Creationist Kool-Aid at the store, so we had to settle for the Trooper.
But I will point out that this is premium British beer.
Premium.
And it's actually really fucking good. So it's just like a brown ale.
Yeah.
But if you can find it, it's really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
drink
you
it.
can tell
Chug it.
because I'm not
Pound
drinking Miller Lite. I'm drinking this.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'll pay for it tomorrow.
So number 4 on our list comes from Power Slave.
Which is one of my all-time favorite albums, period.
Yes, me too.
This is also the song that got the most votes out of all of our contributors.
Yeah.
There were 5 people who contributed lists. This showed up on 4 of them.
And that is
Mine.
Flash of the Blade.
Ah, it's so good.
It speaks to it's the sword fighting song that's better than the other sword fighting songs
Yeah, it's
Of which
the-
Brandon picked all of them.
on his list. Yeah,
Yeah, my songs were pretty much all either sword fighting, history, or Dune.
Mostly sword fighting, because that would
Yeah.
be like 3 or 4 songs
Yeah.
without sword fighting.
Yeah.
but this song,
Fuck yeah, Bruce Dickinson was an amazing fencer.
Yeah.
He
He
still is.
Yeah.
But like he was number 7 in Great Britain.
Yeah.
And like when you think sword fighting, you think like Great Britain and like Japan.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I mean, the fact that he was like 7th, that's pretty fucking
he
good.
also
So-
flies airplanes too.
yeah. He flies like B-52s.
Yeah.
Like around their
Yeah,
concerts.
they have their own plane that's got Eddie on the tail wing, the Iron Maiden plane.
I believe it's actually a 747 or 727.
Yeah, it's something big.
It's
It's a
not a
big
B-52,
plane.
since how that's an American bomber. But whatever.
Yeah, he could probably fly that.
Yeah.
Anyways, the song, yeah, it's a song about sword fighting. It starts off with like a kid dreaming of being a hero, and then eventually growing up to become a legend.
But it's a cautionary tale, you know. You'll die as you lived, with a flash of the blade,
Yeah.
in a corner, forgotten by the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, it talks about, St. George, who is, the patron saint of England because he fought and killed a dragon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got
Because
that.
dragons are real.
Yeah,
Don't let anybody tell you
But
they're not.
it just plays to his love of sword fighting.
Mm-hmm.
History, even though come on, that's not real history, but it's England history, and just the mythology and everything else around his homeland, and that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the reason I actually love this band is you're getting just history, mythology, all rolled into
Yeah,
just
all this cool nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
and it's
Plus-
it's amazing.
Yeah, plus there's that bridge riff that do 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 do
Oh, yeah.
That's just a staple of Iron Maiden's discography, anyway.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah, just the 5th and 7th frets in the C scale, and I don't know if there's any band that has like figured out every combination possible.
No, they sat down and were like, let's figure out every way humanly possible to combine these into a sound.
Yeah.
And they did,
Done.
and
They
it's
did.
always awesome.
And I mean, the song kicks off with just another like classic Maiden hook riff that just gets you right into the song, and then even the middle half, it's like an instrumental part, but it builds up to the solo, and they do this really good job of having these middle instrumentation parts that build up, and then when they hit you with the solo, you really feel that solo kick in.
And
yeah, and then it's not just feeling it kick in. It's the solos are like really well composed. They're not just flurries of notes. Like they're memorable. You can hum every note of the solo, and I think that is a critical point to like a good guitar solo. Is can you remember it right after you've heard it?
Exactly.
It's not like freeform jazz, like there actually is some thought to it.
Yeah, they actually take time to compose these solos to fit the song.
Yeah.
Right, and not just throw them in just to have them there.
Right.
And then have to listen to it like 20 times themselves to figure out how the fuck did I do that?
Yeah.
Also, I will point out that this is Power Slave 84, and it is my favorite album cover. It's amazing on this album. It's Egyptian and it's cool.
Yeah, it's just Eddie on a giant throne. Like he is pyramid scale on a throne.
Yeah, it's fucking dope, and there's like all kinds of hieroglyphs, and if you look at
Hieroglyphs.
and if you look at them, and there's lots of hidden Easter eggs, like Kilroy was here and all kinds of shit like that.
Which is not a Styx reference.
No, it's a
by
World
any-
War II reference.
Yeah.
But anyway, so going with like the whole history thing.
And going with awesome album covers that are a lot deeper than you think.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to number 5, and our pick is Alexander the Great off of Somewhere in Time.
And the
From
Somewhere in Time,
1986.
yeah, and the Somewhere in Time album cover is this almost like dark future a la Blade Runner kind of thing, where it's like naked zombie Eddie with like a laser pistol standing there
I always
around.
thought he looked like Deathlock from Marvel Comics.
Oh, okay. He also looks like Lord Zed, kind of, from Power Rangers.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. He's got like the shiny metallic shit, and it's just all like muscle.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a whole bunch
Like
of
exposed muscle.
yeah, but there's a ton
It's
of
after
little
my
Easter
time.
eggs
Yeah.
in the
Album cover, and then like when
Yeah.
you fold out the sleeve, there's even more little Easter eggs that reference like previous Iron Maiden songs or previous Iron Maiden history.
or even just like things in Russia, like inside jokes from the band.
Yeah.
But yeah, we landed on Alexander the Great, and this was the one that actually, like, some songs tied, and then we had to vote on the songs that tied, and then a couple more songs tied again.
Yeah,
so we
it
had to
was-
vote again on the songs that tied, and this one, like, scaled down the tiers until we're just like, okay, Alexander the Great has somehow weathered this storm
Yeah.
and landed on this list, and I know Brandon is magnificently happy about it.
Yeah, I was gonna go to the mat for this song because my favorite part of Maiden is the fact that, like, if you listen to some of their songs, like, you could pass like 9th grade fucking, world history course, and this is like one of the kings of that. And it's a fantastic song, and the history is actually correct in this song, which, as a history major, that's actually a big deal to me,
Yeah.
especially a classical history major, number one. And number two, like, once you get into, like, you have the whole intro, which is fantastic, and then you get to this, like, 2.5 minute guitar solo, which is fucking amazing. And
Yeah, the way the guitar solo starts off, it immediately just like
Yeah.
rips your attention away from whatever you're doing because
yes,
it's
you can't
it's
focus
just-
on anything
yeah.
else. And it's so good.
Yeah.
You literally, even though it's just guitar, I am hearing the lyrics because he's literally saying, like playing Alexander the Great, and it's fucking amazing.
See,
think
but on the flip side of that, though, is it took me forever to learn the words because I'm so enthralled by the guitars that I was listening to these these awesome riffs. I'm like, I should probably learn the words of the song too because he's actually singing about.
Because you were failing.
but that's my only gripe about the song is the lyrics, not so much the content, but how Dickinson tried to force the history onto a rhyme scheme and a meter that didn't necessarily fit very well. I'm fine with the content, but it's just it has a very almost up and down kind of rhythm to it that doesn't flow with the rest of the song.
I disagree, but that's fine. That's fine.
I mean,
I'm not
yeah,
allowed to have Passchendaele on my list.
Well,
so,
yeah, but
fuck
that's
you.
the only thing is that the lyrics sometimes they come across as just a bit too forced and corny. But the
Totally fine for
the
me.
instrumental part in the middle is what just makes this.
That's
song.
one of the greatest instrumental. Period. End of sentence. Like, does not.
Well,
Dude, I fucking love that instrumental. I said one of, not the.
Okay. All right.
I qualified it. All right.
Very
So
well.
then 6 and 7 is the only ones. They're both off of the same album.
And this was a weird coincidence because they're both off. Not only are they on the same album, they open and close that same album.
Yeah, they're used as a framing.
Bookends.
They're used as a framing device for the 1988 album "Seventh Son of a Seventh Son." And this one, actually, the cover art on this one, they told the artist, I can't think of his name right now,
Derek Riggs.
Derek Riggs. They said, "We want something weird,"
And they got it.
and they
This is
got
actually
it.
this is actually like behind Power Slave. This would be my second favorite Maiden artwork because it's weird, and B, there's like a lot of restraint used in the artwork because it's not, the albums before they're very cluttered and they've got all these hidden little Easter eggs,
Yeah.
and this one is just blue and a weird alien.
And then a lot of
abstract
then a lot of the lines in the backgrounds are like very clean. It's very
there's a lot of
Spartan.
negative
Yeah.
space. It's just like, I could just look at this.
Yeah, and it's just like Eddie floating in the air with I think like a brain in his hand, but he's missing his lower half, but his like spinal cord's hanging down.
Yeah, so anyway, the album is a concept album, but some of the themes are really vague, and it's not, like, it's more of a
theme album.
Yeah,
it's not really a concept album.
It's
a
loosely based off of Orson Scott Card's Seventh Son novel.
But yeah, so it opens with Moonchild, and like we said, there's a framing device where they use a few lines at the beginning of Moonchild to set up the story.
7 deadly sins,
7 ways to win. Yeah, so they do that, and then
holy paths to hell,
and you're born again, and then on our next song, Only the Good Die Young, which is the last song on the album, at the very end of that song, they repeat that same phrasing at the first, but they leave off the born again part.
Yeah.
Signifying, in a brilliant yet corny move, that's it. There
Yeah.
is no coming back.
Right.
Now you're done.
So going back to Moonchild, the first one is when they started experimenting more with keyboards, and they just fired off right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like the opening, aside from the little intro bit of Seventh Son, it's straight keyboards. They're like, we're letting you know what we're doing right now. Like they're up front with it. And then the song itself is supposed to be about Satan or a demon telling this couple parents that he's going to essentially take their son's soul to, I don't know, like take over the world or whatever. I'm not quite clear as to what the son's
vagaries
doing.
of the lyrics show up now.
And it's based off of an Aleister Crowley book, so like you fucking if you know anything about Aleister Crowley, you're like, oh, that makes total sense.
Right.
Like it's weird and there's demons.
There's the concept that a seventh son would be imbued with some sort of mystic powers, and if you have a seventh son of that seventh son, they become almost like a demigod. So that's what the whole thing is that this child so this child is a seventh son of a seventh son, so apparently he's going to have some kind of crazy powers, and the devil's trying to take him to flip him to his own ends.
Right, and then that theme reoccurs in Only the Good Die Young, where they're trying to talk about you die young because as the more you go on in life, you just kind of get like beaten down by the inherent evils of life.
Yeah, it's a very William Blake innocence versus experience kind of thing, where you don't necessarily see the bad in life and you can't really become evil when you're young because you haven't had that experience to understand what that means. And then, you become old like us and apathetic and dead inside.
Yeah, and there's like a really, really bad cover by Billy Joel. I mean,
it's strange because it doesn't sound anything like
the lyrics are different, the sound is different. I mean, it's weird that Billy Joel would try to do a Maiden cover.
That being said, both these songs, they're almost, because they bookend the album, they're almost companion pieces because they're the same, like, solid heavy metal track. They both have these big choruses, but the one thing Good Die Young has over Moonchild is this really strong bass line.
Yeah, dude,
it's awesome.
It's right out of the gate. You get the, here's that word again, quintessential Iron Maiden gallop. Dun 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 dun, and it's just that triplet, that galloping triplet the whole way through, and then like right in the middle of the song at like 1:30 something. Like the guitars get real low in the mix, and it's not quite a bass solo. It's more of a bass lead, and Harris is just like flying through those triplets, and you just pick up on them a lot more. And I've always loved that part. Like just as a bass player, it's not like super technical. It's not like tricky, but it just has that really good driving melody.
Oh, there's a bass in here?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a bassist?
Yeah, I think the bassist wrote like all of their songs. Steve Harris or something, I think his name is. Wait, no, it's not Steve Harris, it's Chad Kroger. Chad Kroger wrote all of Iron Maiden's songs. Either way, both these songs, they just have these infinitely singable choruses, and that's what makes them stand out. And how they weren't like singles or on best of lists.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just like, if these songs are that good, the songs that made the best ofs are like,
I mean,
phenomenal.
That's just stupid.
I also want to say, and this is going back to Alexander the Great, they've never played that song live.
Only the Good Die Young?
No, they've never played Alexander the Great live.
Oh, okay. Really?
Really.
Huh.
They've gone on record in interviews saying that was the song they've always wanted to and just could never fit into their set list. They still have never played that live.
Well, you're going to see him here pretty
I
soon.
sincerely doubt they're
you
going to
should just start like screaming like,
I'm going to be
just like swing a Macedonian flag.
I'm going to be screaming Prowler. Although I will say
wearing a
trench coat. Just flashing Bruce Dickinson. Hey, Prowler! Although his live version on the Greatest Hits B-side is nowhere near as good as the Diano version.
To wrap this up, some of our stats. I like to do the stats. Somewhere in time had
Sabermetrics.
I don't know why when you said that you just sounded like Cliff. Cheers. I like to do the
Hey,
stats.
little known fact about Iron Maiden was they actually invented classical music. And Steve Harris was the first person to ever play a harpsichord. So piece of
Eddie the Head is a real person.
based on the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Ketamine.
Special K's?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Oh, good one, Noah.
Somewhere in time had 4 picks. Power Slave, Self-Titled, Peace of Mind each had 3. Number of the Beast and Seventh Son 2 apiece. Killers and No Prayer for the Dying each had 1. Bubbles picked Fate's Warning off of No Prayer for the Dying, which is actually not quite as bad as you might think. And Fear of the Dark, 0, because everything after Afraid to Shoot Strangers and the title track, and I guess Be Quick or Be Dead, all that middle shit's just, it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those
good.
last 2 albums, and then the beginning 2 albums of our next episode are.
We'll get through them.
Yeah, but hey, thanks for joining us. So, bang that subscribe button, bang the bell next to the subscribe button, go into the description, bang on over to Instagram where behind the scenes photos happen and other behind the scenes stuff happen, and then bang on over to Twitter where most of this stuff just gets filtered over to Twitter because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I'll figure it out one of these days. And do all that banging, bang somebody you love because we love banging and we love you. So you're alerted when the next keg is tapped.
Cheers.
Cheers.